Premed Office Hours, episode 167. I am Dr. Ryan Gray, your moderator for the day. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Founder at Medical School HQ, co-founder at Mapped, author of the Premed Playbook Guidebook Series, host of the Premed Years podcast, the MCAT podcast, the Old Premeds podcast. What else? What other podcasts can I add to the list? Let's rock and roll. Today, we are joined by two of our amazing Medical School HQ advisors, Courtney. Hello, Courtney Lewis, former director of admissions at Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine. I wanted to call you Courtney Granum. I'm like, nope, that's not her name.
That's not the same.
I'm not shipping them yet. But yes, hello, Courtney Lewis. How you doing today?
Good. That's our celebrity like couple name.
Yeah, ship. That's what I said. I'm not shipping you yet. Yeah, that's what the kids say. You got to ship them. I don't know if that's so. We'll see.
Good. Over COVID, I caught it for the first time in 4 years. I'm just a little bit late on that train, but finally getting my taste and smell senses back and feeling rejuvenated. Doing a lot of mock interviews, having people already get some acceptances. So that's been really amazing news to be getting in this past week and a half. So these are good.
Nice. Very exciting. If you would like to do some one-on-one mock interviews with Courtney or Verinia or any of our team, go to medicalschoolhq.net, click on that advising menu item and come hang out with us. Verinia Granum, former assistant dean of pre-health and STEM advising at Hofstra University. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I think Courtney Granum is easier to ship than, I don't know, Corinia. I'm thinking of how we can combine our names. I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Doing well. Doing lots of mocks yourself?
Yes. Excited to have some students that have been fortunate. They've worked really hard to get to this point, and their applications are their hard work is paying off. They're getting interview invites, a couple of acceptances as well. I hesitate sometimes to bring that up because I know it just adds more stress to anyone who's like, but I'm still waiting. It's early.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Just give it time.
Or it won't, and then we'll figure out why. And then we'll fix it.
I'm trying to be positive here, Ryan.
That is positive.
Trying to be positive.
There's that. I get blamed sometimes for toxic positivity. Like everyone can get in. I'm like, oh, not everyone.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. So
unfortunately,
it'll happen. If it doesn't, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. If you like hanging out with us here on Premed Office Hours, hanging us. No, don't hang us for our toxic positivity. You would love to hang out with us in person in Baltimore, October 6th through 8th. We are officially a month away from MappedCon. If you go to mappedcon.com, we still have some rooms available in our room block, which will save you a bunch of money on your hotel room. You can get your tickets as well still. Come hang out with us. We have, I don't know, a dozen or so, if not more, medical schools that are going to be there. We have other pre-health fields. This is a full pre-health conference as well. So podiatry, PA, all kinds of fun stuff. We'll have SMP programs and post-bac programs and lots of panels with DO admissions members and MD admissions members and PA admissions people and all kinds of fun stuff. And you get to hang out with us. The whole team will be there. So come hang out. MappedCon presented by Blueprint MCAT, our friends over at Blueprint. So yeah. And we may be giving away a ticket or two here later in the show. So stay tuned for that. If you are new here, we take your questions and answer them here on the show.
Right now is a good time to buy plane tickets. Just a heads up, everyone.
Yep.
Snag them before prices go up for that. Yep. Come do the workshop.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. All right. Do we have any questions, Alexis? If not, we can BS for a little bit. Bernadette says, what makes a traditional student usually successful in applying to medical school in their first cycle? So, Courtney, this is an interesting question because Bernadette is kind of coming at the question that I think a lot of students are assuming that being a traditional student is bad. And so it's like, oh, well, it's really hard to be a traditional student and get in your first cycle applying to med school. So for those that do it, what helps them stand out instead of taking a gap year, which helps you stand out, which I think we've talked about all the time, that gap years aren't necessarily good or bad. They just are. So what do you say here for Bernadette?
So I would say, even in your wording, it's a traditional student, which means that is the traditional path to getting in. So this is not something that we are super unfamiliar with or that puts you at a disadvantage or anything like that. I would say, you know, just having a solid record if you can, right? Because a lot of the times medical schools are looking to assess risk, right? So does your academic record show risk? No? Great, moving on. Have you taken the classes to prepare you for the MCAT? You get a really solid MCAT score? Great, moving on, right? We're checking these things to make sure that the people that we're taking in have shown, at least through some type of data, that they're ready to take the next step in their education. They have a foundation upon which we can build. So, you know, gain experience. We always say something is better than zero, right? For your clinicals, for your non-clinical, for your community volunteering, you should have at least 3 years to have gathered some of these experiences to kind of inform you that you're on this right path and you're on the right track. If not, maybe you're not prepared. So we take people at kind of all parts of this journey, and sometimes people have had a very straightforward path. They have been diligent in collecting things over time. It's very clear that their foundation is ready, whereas other people, it may take some time, or there's been pivots. So not a problem. We understand that if you're applying kind of end of your junior year, going into your senior year, that you're still maybe going to have a couple of prereqs, that you're still gaining experience and things like that. But it's just not a problem as long as we have the evidence. At least we feel it's evidence to show that you're on a very strong path, and we can kind of take the next step with you.
Yeah. All right. So enough of this nonsense that being a traditional student is automatically harder for you. Students sitting there thinking you get demerit.
It depends on the person. Just like a non-traditional student, a gap year student.
I mean harder in terms of the admissions committee going, oh, traditional, that's not good.
No. Yeah. Sometimes it's really nice to be like, got everything we need. We feel comfortable and confident, moving on, right? Like sometimes it's nice to not have to really weigh things. And well, there were some yo-yos, like, are we on enough of an upward trend here to feel like we have evidence that they're going to be okay now? Like sometimes it's nice to just not have that and move forward.
Yeah. I heard from one dean of admissions that their committee does not like when you stretch things out and you take a gap year to take the MCAT when you're not taking classes, because they're assuming you can't handle the workload, which med school is going to bring you.
Yeah. So anywhere on the journey that you slice it, there are things that could be pros and things that could be disadvantages depending on each individual record. So there's no black and white, yes or no. It's dependent on the person, but it's not a disadvantage.
Yep. All right. Good first question to start with. What questions do I ask myself before committing to the path of becoming a doctor? If you don't mind me asking, what were your reasons for choosing medicine? Verinia, why did you want to be a doctor?
I don't know if I'm the best person to answer this. I hate the sight of blood.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I like working with students who want to become doctors. So.
Of course. Yeah. So I'm assuming this is directed towards me. I'm the only physician on the panel. I wanted to cut people. That's why I wanted to be a doctor. So I mean, I have a weird reason, right? I hurt my shoulder playing baseball. I decided I wanted to be a physical therapist to help other people with shoulder injuries and athletic injuries. And then I dissected a cat and realized, oh, I like cutting things. So I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. So I went to med school to be an orthopedic surgeon. And now I'm a podcaster. And so, yeah, it all worked out in the end.
Life is weird.
And life is weird. Ultimately, that's the whole point of this process, right? Why we stress clinical experience, why we stress shadowing, to get those experiences. And yes, if you're questioning whether or not you want to become a physician, but you really like healthcare, go explore other things like the PA world. Our good friends at the PA platform, which huge announcement that we just launched today. The PA platform is now part of Mapped. They have joined our family. And so Mapped and Medical School HQ and the PA platform are all one big happy family now. And Savannah Perry from the PA platform is a practicing PA. And she's on our team and amazing. And so if you have PA questions, go over to thepaplatform.com and see if being a PA is potentially what you want to do, or maybe you want to be a physical therapist or whatever potentially is out there for you. So yeah, just keep asking. And to me, this question is the wrong question, because my reasons for becoming a physician are not your reasons for becoming a physician. And so you have to go explore for yourself. You have to do some deep kind of introspection and reflection and really understand what it is you want out of life. And if that means cutting people open, saving lives, treating diabetes, whatever it may be, go do that thing.
There you go.
Shadowing can be helpful in this area. Just seeing the different day-to-day, the different clinical settings, the different patient populations, the different kind of hands-on versus administrative work. All of those things can kind of inform you, because, you know, primary care could look different where you are, what setting you're in, how many patients you see a day. If it's, you know, there's a lot of ins and outs that really change, even if you're under the same specialty.
Yep. All right. Good question. TBR R16 sounds like a code name for a drug under development. Would getting a letter of recommendation from an optometrist count as a doctor letter, even though they don't have an MD? Verinia, some medical schools want a physician letter. Optometrists are doctors. They are ODs, doctors of optometry, but they're not physicians.
No, they are not. So in this case, what you're getting at here is, will it count as a letter from a doctor? I don't believe so. They're looking to see if they require that letter. They're looking to see that you have experienced what the aspects of a physician's life is like, MD, DO, whatever that may be. Because there are things that an MD or DO will see and do that an optometrist will not be exposed to. But really what they're looking for is, you know, did this person get to know you well enough to speak to your capabilities as a candidate going into that same field? So that's something to think about, that it's just two very different roles, right? So that letter is not going to satisfy that, what they're looking for, essentially. If you want to potentially have that person write you a separate letter as an other letter, someone who knows you really well and can speak to who you are as a person, sure. But if they're requiring a letter from a physician, it has to be from a physician at the end of the day.
At the end of the day. Yes.
No gray area there.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah, I would venture to guess that no school has the very generic, we want a letter from a doctor. They will say, we want a letter from a physician. Right? It's like, well, my cousin's a PhD in English. They're a doctor. Can I get that?
True.
Yeah.
Not the same.
All right. Adela. How important are letters of rec in comparison to GPA, MCAT, and experiences? I've dedicated over a year and a half to a lab, and I've asked the professor for a letter of rec. It is now the fifth month and no letter. Courtney, this is always the stress of a student's life during applications, chasing letters of recommendations, and sometimes never being able to get them. So it's impossible to compare letters of rec to GPA MCAT experiences. We could hypothesize one school versus another school, but let's kind of ignore that first part of the question and say, if you're chasing a letter and it looks like you're never going to get it, what do you do?
In this situation, I would kind of take it as a hint that maybe you need to figure out a backup plan. 5 months is quite a long time if you've been prompting or remembering, and maybe this person doesn't feel comfortable writing and they're kind of passively aggressively going about this, or it's causing problems at this point. And so I would maybe move on from it instead of trying to push. There was only one time, singular one time, where I got something where the person ended up writing the letter of recommendation, but then they put PS at the bottom and they said, this person hounded me. I was on vacation. They were incessant and blah, blah, blah. And it actually really ended up hurting their application, even though if you think about it from the applicant side, you're like, okay, well, if you said that you were going to write something and didn't turn it in and now they're under a deadline, I can kind of understand that. But the faculty may have very polarizing opinions on how to interpret that information. So I would maybe think about a backup plan at this point after 5 months.
Yeah.
I agree.
And depending on the school, this letter may not be required, right? So it's like, cut bait and go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good luck. All right. Shazia asks, what would be the reasons if your application is under review for over 4 weeks? Withdrew multiple med and DO schools, W multiple, pending interview. Everything is already verified.
I think they mean with multiple med and DO schools.
Yeah.
So they've been under review with multiple schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just means
That
it's under
happens.
review.
Yeah.
That's the process. Welcome to the game of waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Yeah, I think Shazia, Courtney is taking potentially a literal interpretation of under review, meaning someone is looking at the application, versus potentially what it's probably a better term is ready for review, right? It's like it is going to be reviewed at some point and we just don't know when. Yeah,
you're either in a queue, in a screener or evaluator's lineup, or you're in a pool ready to be reviewed. I agree, Ryan. I think you're interpreting it exactly how it is with processes. So it just means that it's been received at this point and that they will start to look at the components of it at some point. You haven't been rejected though, so that's great. That's good news. Or else it would have just been an email saying, we're not going to progress your application forward. So keep on top of it, but just know it could ultimately take months, depending on how their process works, kind of what stage they're at in their reviewing and interviewing. So.
Yeah. In general, for students to understand, once an application is literally being reviewed by someone, that process itself is relatively quick, right? A screener is looking at this going, I like this person, I don't like this person. If they decide, hey, let's invite this person for an interview, how soon do you think is a student going to be notified of that interview invite? Within a week?
I would say within 2 weeks. Sometimes it has to go up to like a pre-committee, or kind of everybody that's reviewed for the week. We get together collectively and vote. There's some kind of nuances where usually the evaluator doesn't have the ability to just click invite. It has to go kind of up a chain of command and have a little bit of oversight. So I would say within a week or two, depending on the process.
Okay. All right. There you go. So hopefully that helps, Shazia.
Yep.
This is the time to look up, find new hobbies, basically, to keep you distracted a little bit.
This is the time to follow the great advice to keep calm and chive on.
Mm-hmm.
Interview prep. Start doing mock stuff under the assumption that once you do get an interview, you may have 3 days to prep because that's what's still available in their interview time slot before the next one in November, right? And so being good with mock interviews, any type of interview prep, researching the school and really nailing down that information is what you should be kind of doing now. And yes, hobbies, because it's a hurry up and wait situation. You've already done all of the major hard work to this point. And so now it is kind of a waiting process that's a little bit out of your control because of kind of how we have to process a tremendous influx of applicants and kind of run them through and do our due diligence and review.
Yep. Thalsia 100. How do you ask to shadow your primary doctor? For instance, what is a good way to start off asking them in person? Verinia, pretend I am your primary care doctor. How would you ask me to shadow?
Sure. So, hi, Dr. Gray. Thank you once again for being an amazing, amazing physician. As always, you've changed my life.
Thank you.
I am a pre-med.
I hear that every day from everyone, but it's
your cutting skills are amazing.
No, seriously though. Just if you're there in an appointment, you can say thank you for everything, and then at the end of the appointment, you could say, "Hey, I'm a pre-med."
Vernie didn't want to role play anymore.
No. Oh, do you want me to? I'll do it. Okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You go.
End of appointment. I'm a pre-med student. I don't know if you know that. I'm really interested in potentially just spending some time, if possible, with you to kind of explore the day-to-day of your day, the day-to-day of your office, what it's like. Is this something that you think would be possible? If you're comfortable asking directly, you can do that. If not, it's okay to contact the office, speak to the office manager. Usually the office manager kind of knows the schedule in the office. They can tell you whether or not they would allow you to come in and shadow. And then again, emphasize respect that their procedures and their policies or whatever. If they're saying no to you, that's fine. But you can say, come in person, come prepared with a resume and say, I'm interested in seeing if it's possible for me to just shadow one day, just to get a sense of what this is like. Now, again, you have to be mindful of their procedures and their policies. They may not be willing to have you on for whatever the reason is. That's okay. But if it's someone, like I said, that you've known, you've been going to this doctor for a while now and you feel comfortable asking them, just ask. They'll understand.
Yep.
I think my students that I've talked to in the past have had a better time when they're willing to ask in person than if you're just sending an email that can easily just be tossed aside. They may receive lots of them depending on your location and things. So I do think if you are willing to do it in person, I would encourage you to do that. Advocate for yourself. Hustle.
That's it.
Rachel asks, can classes that I took to become a medical assistant during my gap year be counted toward my GPA? Oh, I will answer this one pretty quickly. It really depends. Go to AMCAS, go to ACOMAS, go to TMDSAS, whichever application service you are applying to, and see what their requirements are in terms of reporting courses that you are taking. In general, every class that you are taking at accredited institutions that are going to give you a transcript need to be reported. And so it really just depends on where you took your medical assistant course. If, for instance, EMT is always a big one. A lot of students will take an EMT course. They'll take an EMT course, some random kind of quote unquote EMT school that's just in a strip mall somewhere. They're not really accredited, but you get a certificate. That typically isn't reported or doesn't need to be reported. But if you took an EMT course through a community college, which a lot of community colleges will have, then that is typically going to be an accredited school and you're taking classes for credit, then that would be reported. So it really just depends on the logistics. Interesting question. Robert, what are the important things to consider if debating retaking the MCAT? Oh, so Courtney, this is a hard question, right? It's like I got a 510, but I want a 515 versus I got a 490 and I want above a 500. There are really some big differences and some big expectations depending on the student. What are your thoughts here?
My mind immediately goes to a couple of things. Is this a subsection thing? Is this an overall score thing? How long has it been in between the time that you're debating retaking? I've seen so many times where students will sit for a test, sit for an MCAT, and then not like the score that they got, and then 4 weeks later, sit for another and get a very similar result, which, bummer. Like, you maybe should have given yourself a little bit more time, and really evaluated why it was you got the first score. I think that's key in kind of identifying, is it a test taking thing? Is it a content thing? Is it just nerves of that day? Because that changes then the timeline of what you need to do if you think that you may retake it. Now, if you're just like, if you're at a 515, right, and your subsection, you've got a 121 in a section, I could see, even though your total score is phenomenal, like let's say your CARS is a 121, you probably will need to retake it. So it's all in the kind of the details, and then why you got the score that you did, and considering if you should retake or not, and how many times you've taken it, right? If this is like your 5th time, maybe it's time to pump the brakes a little bit, or really make some changes, because if you're still yo-yoing, that's a problem. It's not something that you want to take lightly or just throw a bunch of attempts at.
Yep. Yeah, lots of nuance to that question that really hard to answer without doing a deep dive.
Yeah, although there is, we have a resource, I guess, through Blueprint. I just looked it up. I don't know if I can put their link in the comments, but it's basically a post about this. What do I need to consider? Should I retake it? What are the things that I need to consider? I'll go ahead and put that up there for you so you can check it out. A lot of it is similar to what we were just saying. There's a lot to take into consideration. So just check that out. Did I do that correctly? Is it posted?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps too.
Good stuff. Zahar, how important is undergrad prestige when applying, and is it worth it to transfer to a more prestigious college in terms of applying to medical school? Well, Verinia, since you were at the prestigious Hofstra,
oh boy,
this is a very common question, very common concern in terms of both undergrad prestige and med school prestige. And if I don't go to the school with the name, then my career is going to be in the trash.
Wow. So this is a loaded question. I mean, I don't know what your situation is. So here, I want to say that no, it does not matter. I want to say that what matters is the effort you're putting in and the application that you're producing. Now, can we account for individual biases? No. Obviously we have to, we can't control what other people are thinking. There are some schools where that matters. Obviously it's not public information like that, but I think you have to focus on what you can do and your motivation for it. So don't assume if I transfer to this more prestigious university and I end up with just maybe C's and some B's, I'll still get in, right? It's going to, what will matter more is, what did you do? How did you perform there academically? And what else did you do during your time there? So prestige does not necessarily mean a more, like, an easier route to medical school. I just, like I said, you can't always rule it out because for some people that still matters, or for some schools. So just do what you can do. I wouldn't necessarily say, yeah, go ahead, transfer just for the sake of, the name of the school. Prestige is relative.
Yep.
Okay.
Melodies of the last days. That's a very interesting name. I like that.
An
It's
album name.
It's a podcast name for hospice, I think. I think it'd be a fantastic podcast name for hospice. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a friend who failed. I have a friend who failed Anatomy 1, and he later retook the course and passed it. Failed Anatomy 2 before retaking it and passing it again. How does it affect you if you want to go to medical school? Courtney, failing anatomy, not once, not twice, twice. Is a med school going to look at that and go, oh my gosh, you failed anatomy? That is medical school. How could you not understand anatomy?
Not necessarily. I would say we're looking at the timeline, right? When did this happen? When did the second attempt happen? What were the circumstances? Like, were you taking it in the summer and that's all you were taking and you failed? Or were you taking it in combination with biochem and OChem 2, right? There's all of this additional data that we're looking at, kind of the bigger picture of your academics. That's why we ask for everything in chronological order from all of your schools, because we want to see kind of what your path or your academic journey looked like for situations like this. So I would be looking at a number of things. Doesn't have to be a ruling out factor. Obviously, you took it again twice, your friend did, and passed it. So great. Moving on. If I have follow-up questions to that, then I'll ask them. And what type of failure? Is this a failure where you got an F? Because then I'm like, okay, well, what was going on there? Or is this a failure you got a C minus? But you were also taking other courses. So a lot of nuance, a lot of variables to take into account, but doesn't have to mean the end of a med school journey by any means.
Yeah, I think the core of the question is, are they going to look at anatomy, see that I failed, and go, oh my gosh, you're not cut out to be a doctor? Right. I don't think we can interpret it that way.
Nope.
Although, come on, anatomy, it's my favorite course.
It may make it more difficult, right? You're going to have to show them evidence of improvement and growth, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be like, ugh, no.
Yep.
People have lots of stuff on their academic records.
Yep. I want to give away some MappedCon tickets. If you are in Baltimore or can make it to Baltimore, October 6th through 8th, Friday night, all day Saturday, Sunday until the early afternoon, and want to come to MappedCon, want to interact and network with medical schools, this is your opportunity to get in front of these schools. They are there to meet you, to interact with you. Courtney, you used to do this a ton, going and meeting students and learning about them and going, oh my gosh, you would be perfect for our school. Talk about those interactions at conferences with students.
Sure. Yeah, I admitted lots of people that I met at conferences. So it's in this virtual world that we now live in. It makes it more convenient to have multiple touches, with students and things like that. But what's really missing is kind of that building of rapport of just being in somebody's presence. I can't tell you how far that goes for just feeling comfortable and confident with an applicant. And if they're able to come, have a conversation, they seem really enthusiastic, and then I'm able to see their application later on, I'm like, yes, let's move this person forward. They've got a solid record. I had a wonderful conversation with them. I know that they're interested. That's a yes for me. So it's the best time. So many pre-meds ask us over and over and over, either as advisors or people in admissions, how do I stand out? How do I get out of the pack or the pool of 1,000, 6,000 applicants? How do I do this? This is an opportunity to do that, right? It's going, having a conversation in person, getting to know about the schools, interacting with people actually from that school that are sent there, a lot of directors are going to be there. It's not just a low-level recruiter or something like that. These are decision makers that are coming to attend that we've invited and that have chosen to host tables at the event. And so think about the decision makers are from usually an older generation that still really value in-person interactions, and this would be a really good opportunity to form a connection with a school that you are ultimately interested in applying to and being able to achieve an interview with. So outside of the workshops and all of the other super helpful information we're providing and certifications and things like that, this is an opportunity to network and be your own best advocate and connect with schools. So yeah, I had lots of really amazing, great interactions, and I admitted students based off of that, you know? So
yep.
It was, that's why we went. That's why we spent money to go to these health fairs or these conferences, is because we knew that we were going to find students that we really matched with and that we wanted at our school. That's the whole reason that we went. And so take advantage of these things. I know that virtual is convenient, but in-person still trumps. It trumps every time. And medical schools are still paying money to go to in-person health fairs looking to connect with you. So I would take advantage. If your school's having one, if you can come to Mapped, it is the best opportunity.
And I often get asked questions about how, where can I find out more information about the schools? This is the opportunity to do that, right? Mm-hmm. Beyond what's on the website, go in person, speak to someone from the school. They can give you more insight into the things that you want to know, essentially. So definitely worth it.
So I'm scrolling through our speaker list right now. We saw already Dr. Layla Amiri. She's the Associate Dean of Admissions at University of Vermont. We have Dr. El Alfi. She's at Medical College of Wisconsin as part of their pharmacy school. She's there. UT Health Houston, Associate Dean for Academic. Looks like it's missing a word there. And Curricular Affairs. She's a professor at UT Houston. Maryland School of Medicine, another farm program there. Your former school, Courtney there, Austin from Burrell. Hey, look, that's me. We got Rachel, co-founder at Mapped. Dina was at Stanford and at Brown. There's Varini, Deb Gutman, Dr. Deb. I'm looking for more deans and directors of admissions. You can just see we have so many amazing people. Hey, Courtney, how you doing? Hi. Ellie from Idaho College of Osteopathic Medicine. Doug, post-bac program. Betsy. Ellen is Associate Dean of Advising at Hofstra. Yep. She's also in charge of their SMP or post-bac program. MD, PhD, Loyola University, Stritt School of Medicine, the Assistant Dean of Admissions, Dr. Neighbors. Actually, he's not Dr. Neighbors. He's Mr. Neighbors. I'm pretty sure. Andrea from AT Still. Yeah, so Director of Admissions there. So lots of people. Go check it out. There's Savannah, our new team member, founder of the PA platform. She's going to be there. Associate Dean for Medical School Admissions at University of Maryland School of Medicine, Dr. Sandra Quesada. She'll be there. She's a local, obviously, with Maryland being there in Baltimore. Lots of it. There's more. I won't scroll down the whole page for you right now, but go check it out. MappedCon.com. If you are interested in going, leave a comment about why you are excited to go, what you're hoping to get out of the conference. We'll throw a couple of those comments up on the screen and pick some people.
Yep.
But before that, so let's go and answer some more questions. Eric, what advice do you give students with a low GPA post-grad? Should they retake classes, pursue another major? Please shed some light on this. Thank you. Courtney, we talk to a lot of students in very similar situations. Their GPA, they don't have a track record proving academic ability enough for medical schools to give them a chance theoretically. And it's really hard, right? Because we don't have a sliding scale that says, well, if your MCAT is this and your hours are this, and right, we can't plug into every rubric at every medical school and go, this is the GPA you need. This is the trend that you need. And so it's really hard to just say, go and do, and then hope. What do we tell students like Eric here?
Yeah, well, and I mean, GPAs at a certain point, once you have a certain amount of credits, they're not really going to budge that much. And so more so than looking at just kind of this static GPA that isn't going to budge, I'm going to look at kind of the last little bit of coursework. So yeah, you may need to kind of improve academically. I'm about to stick you into 36 credit hours of heavy science, plus learning clinical skills, plus then studying for boards and doing community volunteerism and club engagement. It's a lot. And so they will want evidence of that. And so either we need evidence of a changed student who's now ready to take that on, or you should be, you should be very strategic about how to look at your academic record, be very honest with yourself and say, I haven't really given them evidence that I have strengths and a very strong foundation upon which they're going to build, and address those issues. So again, if you have a trend, upward trend, and it's actually really strong, but your GPA remains low, that's one thing. But if you have a post-grad low GPA where you had a higher undergrad and then you kind of tanked here, yeah, we may need evidence of improvement in that regard. So depends, as with most things, on the details and kind of the nuances to your situation, but those are the things that I would kind of gravitate towards. I'm not sure if you would need to pursue another major in totality, but potentially. So I would say have some honest conversations of what you need to address if you were to put your shoes in the AdCom, or put yourself in the AdCom shoes. What do you think they're going to call out? Have you given them evidence that you have strengths in that area? If not, you should probably address it, because they're going to do the same thing. So
Yep,
it is what it is.
And
sorry. But that's the reason why you're not going to find a lot of hard cutoff minimums for GPAs, is because we understand that some people may be tied to an undergraduate GPA or just a GPA from times past. And they have so many credit hours that even if you have 6 semesters of straight A's, it's still not going to move the needle that much. And we don't want to rule those people out or put them at a disadvantage. So that's generally why you don't see kind of minimum GPA cutoffs and things like that, because we want to be able to look at a full academic record and make our assessment as a medical school to determine applicants. So, okay, go ahead, Verinia. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's fine. I was just going to suggest to Eric to go check out mapped.com if you haven't already. Mapped is our signature software that will help you track your progress, enter your coursework in there, and see what those trends are that we've been talking about. And then you can actually chat with one of us within the app, within the software itself, and we can give you feedback on where you stand as well. Sometimes it's hard to know yourself. Okay, yes, okay, my GPA is too low. There's some things I need to improve, but what should I focus on? Those are all things that we can help you out within Mapped itself. So you can get a free trial. Use the code 30 days free, and that gives you access to chat with an advisor during that time period. Fill that out, put in all your coursework, all your grades, activities, if you have that information as well, and reach out. We can give you some more tailored feedback there.
Yep. And Mapped, if you don't want to chat with an advisor, or the letter recommendation feature is also part of Mapped Pro. To track your courses, activities, applications, all that stuff, Mapped is free to use forever. All right. Thalsia, whatever. What is the difference between DO schools and MD schools? Is one better than the other? Are they equal to each other? I'm going to skip this question. Go Google it. We have blog posts and podcast episodes and stuff on that. Yeah, nice Google search. We don't need a conversation about that. Soliloquy, whatever. I am a first-generation born American to war refugees. I've reflected many years to make sense of my experiences. Now in my 30s, my heart tells me I should pursue medicine, yet my body feels fear. Vernia, this just tells me that their body feels normal. What's going on?
I have to apologize because the landscapers are next door, and I don't know if you can hear it, but I'll try my best. Yeah.
You're fine.
Welcome to being pre-med.
Welcome to being a human with any big decision. You're like, shoot.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm a big believer in first obviously reflect on what your motivation is to wanting to do that. That's so important. So, what are the things that have gotten you to this point? Think about that. What experiences have you gone through that made you understand, hey, this is really where I can make the most impact, and this is why I want to do this. And then you kind of just have to just do it. Just jump in, figure out where to start. In your 30s, there may be, I don't know if you have taken undergraduate coursework in the sciences, you may have to start from the beginning. If it helps, there are plenty of applicants in the same boat with you in their 30s and their 40s, even in their 50s. So if this is what you want to do, don't let age dissuade you in any way. Check out our resources to kind of give you some more support. The fear will never go away, right? That's where you have to rely on the motivation to knowing yourself and knowing why you want to do this. And sometimes you just got to dive right in. Good luck, soliloquy. Mm-hmm.
It looks like this person is wanting to come to MappedCon. I think that's why they're sharing their story.
I think they should. Yeah, I think it will help.
You should. Mm-hmm. Come to MappedCon. Yeah. Well, all right. We'll add you to our list of potential winners. Let's go ahead and throw up some other people who, if anyone, has also said, "Hey, I want to come to MappedCon."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Rachel says, I have a very convoluted story of perseverance and ultimate triumph that I would love to share with medical schools. I'm first gen and financially disadvantaged, so a ticket would be a dream. Rachel, that is a wonderful. Would love to chat with you. Okay. Another potential winner here.
Mm-hmm.
Who else we got? Jose, I would love to network with other students and AdCom members. What about us? You don't want to network with us? Jose didn't win.
Get your selfie with Ryan.
No selfies. No pictures. No autographs, please.
No pictures.
I'm going to have security around me. Just kidding.
Right.
Who else we got? I would love to be able to meet with other like-minded individuals. That's the biggest reason we're doing this, right? Just getting everyone together. It's so fun. Hear from medical professionals whom I aspire to be like and gain a clearer perspective on my path to medical school. Yes, Eric. Love it.
And inspiration.
Love it.
And inspiration, right?
Yep.
So hearing other people's stories will help you stay motivated when you are afraid and fearful.
Yeah.
There's a really good follow-up question. I'm going to put it on the screen if I can, Alexa. I'm going to take over here. I like this question.
If I attended a med school's open house online info session, is it overkill to also try to go see them at MappedCon? Courtney?
No.
You brought it up? What's the fine line between
I'm stalking?
Perseverance and stalking, yes.
I think repeated touches can be really helpful, right? It helps me establish a pattern of behavior. It shows me that actually somebody truly is interested. Now, if they're coming up and asking me the same questions and just kind of lingering, that may be a bit off-putting. But if they're just there seeking to interact, to show their interest, they have additional questions, they're wanting to be involved, they're engaged with other pre-meds and looking at things, then I get a sense of that person's very proactive and they're willing to put in the work to advocate for themselves, to be engaged, to seek out opportunities. So I'm not put off by this. You know, just attending an online info session, I'm not super interacting with people, I would say, from, you know, there's a group, there may be questions or kind of a panel type situation going on, but that's not a lot of interaction. Attending an open house, generally, that's another group setting where there may have been a couple of people asking questions. At least you've come to campus, but going to MappedCon and interacting on an individual basis is a little bit different and kind of follow up for those two group sessions. So I wouldn't be put off by this.
Okay. Yeah, so you should come to MappedCon as well. All right, for everyone, is there anyone else that hasn't been shown? Let's say no. For everyone whose comment we just showed, you all win. You all win a free ticket to MappedCon. Come hang out with us.
You get a ticket.
Oprah.
I'm Oprah. Yes. Come to MappedCon. We'll get you a free ticket. Email info@mapped.com. That's info@mappd.com. And we'll get you some free tickets to MappedCon, or a free ticket to MappedCon for those of you who just had your thing shown.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I just show
everyone.
one comment really quickly? This came in from Nelson.
Yeah.
Referring to fear. Just push through it. And being in your 30s, you can't handle it. I like that.
Yep.
Students that did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they are in their residency.
At MappedCon, Friday night is a non-trad night. You don't have to be non-trad to come, but we're going to be focusing on conversations with some non-traditional students. We'll have a 50-something, actually 2 50-something-year-old med students there. Some other non-trads hanging out, sharing their stories, hopefully motivating you that, yes, you can do it. So, all right. Time for one more question, I think. And then we can sign off.
Oh. Some very happy MappedCon attendees in the
Nice.
comments.
For everyone else, go to mappedcon.com, get your ticket. Come hang out with us. And tell your friends. Josiah King, in April, am I allowed to apply to schools that I haven't yet taken all the required classes for, but I am scheduled to take those classes next fall?
Yep.
No, because the applications aren't open in April. It was a trick question. Courtney, you failed. Yes.
Me too.
So you can apply to schools. I'll put a caveat in it. I say this every once in a while. There was one random school at one point many years ago that I could have sworn said, like, don't apply to us until you have your prereqs done. I've never seen that again, but just double check all the schools. 99.9% of them are going to say or not say anything. It's expected that a lot of students apply without having their prereqs done. So you should be fine. But yes, applications open in May. You can start submitting in May, typically for all 3 applications at this point. So good luck, Josiah. All right, friends, we have come to the close of another Premed office hours. Again, we are all going to be in Baltimore October 6th through 8th for MappedCon. Get your tickets. Let your friends know about it if you're in the Baltimore area. I'm potentially going to come in a little bit early to do some on-campus meetups as well. So if you're local and want me to potentially come hang out at your school, chat with a club, something, shoot me an email. Actually, info@mapped.com is probably just as easy for that too. So yeah, happy to see you all in October. Courtney, Brittany, any last minute?
Remember that if you are traveling in and you need a hotel, go through the MappedCon website. Don't just look at it independently on travel.com or anything like that, because we have special pricing. And so we understand students, cost of airfare, things like that, but there are discounts on these things to try to make it the most affordable for you guys to be there. So make sure you go through the MappedCon things for your booking and come. It's worth your time. Please come. We'll
be excited to see
yourself.
Yes. Excited to
All
see
right.
you all.
Yes,
Bye.
yes. Everyone, have a wonderful day. We will see you soon. Bye bye.